Hey, it's your guy Ty. Today we're just going to go through how to put front brakes on a Suzuki QuadRunner 250. Couldn't find anything good online except for parts diagrams, so I'm going to show you the quickest way I found to do them. Hope it helps. And without further ado, let's get rolling. Alright, I'm going to walk you through the quick version of this here. So, I've already got the wheels just on here, a couple lugs just to speed up the process. You got lugs and washers, whole tire. Alright, and what you're going to have to do, this is going to be seized on there pretty good. This nut, don't even worry about taking it off because this drum is only as big as where my finger is. And it's just seated on here with an O-ring in the face. So what I do, take you a small screwdriver or a chisel, whatever you got, be delicate. Just usually give her a couple little pops, make sure she's freed up to begin with. Alright, freed up here, go around here, give it a little bit of a kind of a wiggle, both sides. If it doesn't want to move, put a little pressure, not using a 3-pound hammer like I've got here, but pop this, tap a little bit just to get them to release and slide over for your brakes there. And this will, after a little bit of fighting, come off. Now, I've done the hard work already. I've had this off once. And no, believe it or not, I wish it wasn't so, but there's no easy way to get this off here. This is all bolt-in hub. It's a pre-assembled sealed bearing type system, so you take this off, it's not like a tapered bearing or any other type of hub where you can just separate. It's a one hub, and unfortunately there's no way of getting to the bolts to get the hub off without getting the brakes out first. So after getting mad for a while trying to figure out how I'm going to do this with the hub on here, I figured we're just gonna have to work around the hub. So that's what we did. Now of course you see I got all the new parts on here already. I don't know how much you can actually see on this right side here, but I've got the new shoes in place, keepers and return springs and lower springs, got my new wheel cylinder installed and the adjuster set in there. Now I'm going to try to show you how these all go on here and how this can be done on the machine. And just because I care about your mental health so much, what I've done is I'm showing you this all with new pieces. That way not everything is just one nasty color of rust. So we're going to deconstruct this on the machine. I'm going to show you how this goes back on. First step is you're going to have to get this brake cylinder to collapse. You're going to have to do that by popping your bleed screw on the back. Pop the bleed screw. Alright, you'll know you're doing good when you got fluid coming out. Catch that fluid. And you want to keep your fingers out of the way. Use tools. Now right in here, if I can show you, your adjuster, your automatic adjuster here, I'll show you a blow up of the adjuster. But you've got two meshing. See right here, I put my screwdriver out here. See how you've got these, you can't see it, daggone. See where these pieces right here have teeth here, and there's teeth here. This spring keeps tension on this mechanism here. That way when these expand out, it adjusts and ratchet locks in place. So in order to get the spring tension off of here, or make this thing pop, I'm going to stick this screwdriver right between here, and I'm going to give it a little twist. You put this in here, give your screwdriver a twist, it'll release this ratcheting adjuster, like that, right there. All right, she's all the way in. Now, if you got worn out brakes, when you go through here, you separate these teeth from meshing, it's going to snap together, which is okay because it's releasing the preset outward push on these shoes. From here, what you want to do, I start from the bottom. Down here, I get you down here with me. Right down here, where these shoes rest in this holder right here, what we're going to do, these springs here are awfully tight because they're under some good tension right now. All you're going to do is we're going to pull these outwards on both sides after we take our retention clips out. So without overcomplicating this drum system here, so that you know this hub is not going to come off. If you unbolt it from here, all that pops out that way is this actual little axle half stub, this 2-wheel drive 4-wheeler. Now the only way to get to the bolts to get the hub off are entrapped by, well, the hub itself is in the way of getting to the bolts, which is kind of troublesome, but hey, you know, it can be done, I guess, if you got enough patience and all that good stuff. But I found a way to do this without dismantling anything and risking breaking anything else. So just stay with me. First, going to start off with our spring hardware here and here. These, you're going to push in on the spring. I usually use a nice flat-ended tip like this. So you're going to push in on the spring itself, and then once you got it pushed in, you're going to grip the fastener here, the little flat edge, and you're going to rotate it 90 degrees, whether clockwise, counterclockwise, doesn't matter. You just got to get this slot that's in the horizontal position rotated vertically so it'll slip out of this retainer. So I'm going to push in, I'm going to twist. Okay, we're going to twist counterclockwise like this. Off goes the spring, retention clip, catch your pin. See, that's how that works. I'm sure you know have seen how these work before, but it goes in. When you got the spring pushed, you're going to rotate and it locks that slot just so it doesn't pull back out. Do the same thing with the other side. It's kind of a pain in the butt because the brake line goes in right in behind it. Push in and rotate. All right, almost got her. There we go. Off comes the there. And the back side of this pin, you'll have to see for yourself. I'm not bringing the camera back there, but the brake line is right behind it, so kind of a little bit of a pain in the butt to get out there, but it does come out. Once you're here, you can go ahead and spread these bottoms. And this isn't too hard to overcome with your hands here, so just do one, pick a side, doesn't matter. I'm gonna go right side because I'm right-handed. Pull out there. All right, getting that here. You can kind of finagle this hub here to work in your favor. All right, do the left side. Now what that's done is brought my lower spring together. Well, I can take this, take it out of my left side here, and I got a floating spring. That's gonna allow me to go like this. Spread it, drop the spring. The fat side of the spring goes towards the rear of the four-wheeler. And we're gonna come around here. All right, work this on top of the cylinder. And you got a chance, when you pull these apart, watch these ratcheting teeth. See how it's pulling it out? It's spreading these shoes here. So what you're gonna do now, you got the relief once you've got the pressure off of your brake cylinder. Okay, right here, how she sits. The adjuster sits under here. Remove your brake cylinder. And yes, that means you got to undo your brake line back here, which in this instance is 10mm nut. Already had these broke loose, so you don't need to use the line wrench for right now. I don't need to. Then the two bolts that hold the cylinder are right here on the back. And right here on the back, I've already got my bleeder out. Got the brake line, then these are the two bolts. Now this isn't a flex hose up here, even though it's a steer axle, because they've got this short solid whip here that only goes to about right under here, and you can see where the change happens. It goes from a hard line to a hose just under this bracket here. You don't have much room to play with. All right, that's out. Yeah, ratchet wrenches might fit in here, but it's really tight next to this casting here, so unfortunately you might be able to get it broke loose, the 1/4" socket, because it's narrow, but you might just have to wrench your way out. Kind of where I'm at with this one. All right, once we got those out, this is out of the way, let's take the cylinder out. Just gonna pop this little dude out. Just like that, she's out of the way. Put her to the side. And now what we got here, now all you gotta do is you're just gonna take this whole upper shell here, give it a little bit of a rotation here to get it to clear. You might have to manipulate this hub a bit, get this where you want it, like I said. There you go. And just like that, you got this whole section out of here. Right, just watch yourself. Get it until it's pretty much relaxed. See how there's a lot of play in here now? The springs are not under tension anymore. So your adjuster here, it's got a little bitty hook. You're just gonna kind of rock this little dude just enough to get to come out of there. See that come out? And you can rotate this, get your spring out. So now you've got your upper spring, comes out the other side the same way. And then you got this little beast right here. This is your adjuster. See the way that come out of there? That little spring sits just like this. And all this does, see how it's spring powered? That's your adjuster. So we'll leave that in a relaxed position. About there. You have a spring here, and when you get your new shoes, they're not going to have this on here. This little guy comes off your old one, and this is part of what that mechanism rides in this little groove here. So you've got a little C-clip here, a little retainer that pops out of there, and then that pin is part of this, and this will pull out. I just cleaned it up with a wire wheel, put it back in place. Now the same thing for all this is repeated on the other side. It's just mirrored, so everything is just backwards, but just when you see it when it comes off, you'll know how to put it back on. So we're gonna go ahead and reassemble. Set that guy there, spring back in place. That guy goes there. Just manipulate that however you need to get that back in place. Okay, so now we're sitting how we're supposed to. Springs in the top here, the adjuster's sitting here how it's supposed to. And we're gonna go ahead and do is you take this assembly right here as it sits, and we're going to put it back around the hub and start the installation process over again. Now you see where that spring sits over here? And there's how this stuff looks sitting on the back. That's how all this adjuster hardware is supposed to look. And we're here. And that spring on the bottom, we'll go back on here once we're done. Get this back on. Alright, you can take that piece you got right here. We're just going to finagle it back in here, just how we took it out. Like I said, you can manipulate this little hub however you need to get it in there. And there we go. We're back in. Good deal. Now here's the only part we're gonna do a little differently. After I get these springs back in here on the bottom, I'm gonna get the spring, put back in here. Remember, keep this on the outside of this little flange down here to give yourself room to get this spring in here. Okay, come on. There we go. Hold on. Sometimes it's easier to do as I say than, monkey, easier said than done. It's not difficult to tension, it's just hard to show you what I'm doing. Okay, so now our lower spring is in place. Go ahead and push this guy back where it needs to go. We're gonna spread it out. Spread it out. All right, so now we're sitting down in our bottom jaws there, good. Get out of my way. There we go. Like I said, just rotate this hub however you need to fit your needs. Okay, and go ahead and you're gonna also look while you're here. Go ahead and make sure these are aligned to where you can get your hole in the back. See my finger? Hold on. See my finger back here? That's where that pin needs to come through, so make sure you've got a straight shot through it on both sides. And we're sitting down here. Our spring's hooked, and we're back up in here. And we're gonna go ahead, before we put this cylinder back in, I'm gonna put the mounting brackets on here. Now, I'm sure you can do it either way. I'm just showing you my way. Okay, I'm gonna get right down to it. There's no easy way to do this. These springs kind of suck, but I didn't like the new hardware they gave me with the shoes. These original ones here actually made a lot better than the new ones. They're not too far gone. They've got a little keeper here. This special piece here, this little bitty catch, is gonna go on this right side over here, or I should say the front, because basically what this is doing is that little bitty swinging mechanism I showed you that you change out from the pin. This little pin right here, can't even point. This little pin right here, the one that had the E-clip, circlip, whatever you call it. This little guy basically hooks in front of that just to kind of keep that from over traveling, I would say, or some type of limiting function. So this is gonna go on the right side. It's gonna go right here, just like this. And the hard part, as you can imagine, is having 3 hands to do this, but I managed pretty well. I'll go ahead and take the pin, place it through the backing plate, hold that back pin with a finger, 2 for 1 here. Hold it with a back finger, get yourself lined up where you can push this in. And now I'm gonna rotate counterclockwise, that way it spins this into the shoe. It doesn't get me lost. Push in, squeeze. Yep, pain in the butt, man. Now you're probably thinking, don't you have brake tools for all that crap, dude? Yeah, I've got these. And I've got the little special tools and stuff, but this just doesn't cut it. So usually isn't too terrible. Plus the fact that I've already done this once gives me overconfidence. And when I did this last time, there wasn't a camera, partially in my face. But it's no good to you if I don't record it. That's kind of why I'm here. Try to help educate people. Half the stuff I edit out that I talk about because nobody wants to hear it. That's true. There we go. All right, that's one side in, just like that. Sitting good, sitting pretty. Go ahead and center it up a little bit. And we're gonna finalize this whole movement once we're done. Left side now. This is the side that I said is a bit nightmarish because of there's this stupid brake line in the back. I can just get my pinky back here. There's nothing special on this hardware on this side. It's just this one here. Same principle. Push and twist. Just like that. Now that our hardware is anchored to the backing plate, see this is free to move now. Just gotta make sure we're sitting kind of good here. And then to get your new cylinder in, just kind of give these a ratcheting pull. Let that little adjuster do its trick. Get them out about as wide as you can stand to give you room to get that in there. Go ahead and compress your cylinder. It just lays between here. All right. What I always do before I go ahead and anchor, the wheel cylinder here, I always hand start my brake line. Just that way you don't have any conflicting, threads or risk of damage if you don't quite have something right. At least you know your threads will be right and you're not trying to fight bending the line, because right now I've got wiggle room in my cylinder. We'll keep it that way. I'm not gonna fully torque my brake line yet. Just gonna snug it up. All right, she's snug. Mounting bolts back in, slipped. All right, let's tighten down. Now I can fully tighten my brake line. And when you tighten brake lines on a new cylinder, I always go tight, loosen a little bit, tighten, loosen a little bit, and tighten. Do that a couple times just to make sure that flared end is gonna mesh good with the new surface. I mean, it should be the same, but that's just something I've always done. Okay, this is freed up. Brakes are where they belong now. That ratcheting action has it all the way open, so right now if we try to put the drum on, it's not going to happen because these are all the way out. So take that screwdriver, stick it right between your teeth, give it a little twist. Right there, took all the tension off. Now we should be compressed enough to get our drum back on. Quick shot of clean. Same thing with our drum. Just give it a little bit of rotation here while you're pushing it in. And if anything is off a little bit as far as where those things are moved, if you rotate, it'll kind of shuffle itself back to center. If it doesn't, you might have to pop this back off and make sure you don't have nothing set up in there wrong. So right now we're not rubbing. Put the wheel back on and then we'll bleed the brakes. I'll do it backwards. See, I've got a big, huge negative offset there, positive here. It's designed to go on like this, but it's going to entrap all my bleeding access spots. So I'm gonna put this back on here. And the reason I'm putting the wheel on is because there's nothing that holds the drum on anymore. It was just one of those one-way push-ons that keep the drums from popping off and the wheels off, but gotta take that off to get the drum off. So I'm just gonna put 2 nuts on here currently just to secure the wheel. And I'm sure if you even cared to notice, there's not a cotter pin in here yet. There will be. So I haven't got there yet. The point of this video wasn't to show you how to put cotter pins in. If it was, I'd have talked about it. I know it needs one. We're all good. Another point, it's not a final torque, so I'm just putting these on here temporarily. Don't bust my balls. All right, now I've got the wheel on here. You can see how this offset. I've got full access to my bleeder here without being tucked behind the wheel. Before you begin the bleeding procedure, make sure you've got plenty of fluid in your reservoir. If it looks nasty, now's a good time to go ahead and just take this out and just pump away, empty that reservoir out and put fresh stuff in there. Just remember you got to bleed your other side as well. And as you're doing this, you might hear this mechanism in here clicking away. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is just tighten this bleeder up just for now. I'm going to go ahead and give my brake lever a full pull here. I heard it click once already, so I was too busy talking. Just listen. Give it a little pump, holding it down, and then I'm holding the brake lever down. Crack this loose, let out the air, tighten it back. Release your brake handle, pump it a couple times, hold it down, get a little bit of fluid out of there, tighten it up, release the brake lever, pump it up, hold it, break this loose. All right, tighten it up, still got a little bit of air in there, keep pumping, keep an eye on your brake fluid level in your reservoir. This one's good, hold it down, okay, give it one more pump. You'll notice your handle starts getting pretty firm too. Good action in your brake handle here. One last little thing here, I don't think I see any more air, but we're gonna go ahead and give it one last little squeeze. Or solid fluid. And just like that, that's all there is to it. Hopefully this helps you out, saves you some time, gives you some confidence. This stuff is just nuts and bolts and rust. You'll figure it out, but stay tuned. I'll keep doing videos for you guys. Thank you, appreciate your support. God bless, have a good day, guys.